Welcome to this week's Today's Health and Wellness podcast. This is Brett.
And I'm Ashley. The Today's Health and Wellness podcast is a joint effort of the Central Ohio Health and Wellness magazine and Today's Health.
In each week's podcast, we spotlight health and wellness stories you'll find in the magazine, on Today's Health web pages, our social media, as well as extras you'll hear only in the weekly podcasts.
Thanks for subscribing and hitting the play button. Let's get started.
With us on the program today is Kroger pharmacist Julie Simbola. And Julie is here to tell us a little bit more about flu shots. It's time once again to get your flu shot. And first of all, why do you need to get a flu shot every year?
Well, everybody needs to get a flu shot every year just to protect themselves and the people around them from the flu. The flu can be very deadly for people, especially if they're elderly or very young. So it's important to make sure that you're protecting yourself and also helping prevent the spread of the flu to other people.
And flu strains change every year, right?
They do change every year, and every year the CDC comes out with a flu shot and they try to pick the strains that they think are going to be the most prevalent in the area.
Who should get a flu shot?
Everybody should really get a flu shot. They recommend it for ages 6 months all the way up through the rest of your life. People that should definitely think about getting a flu shot are the young, so your children, pregnant women, elderly folks over the age of 65. Those groups are the groups that have the highest risk for complications should they become exposed to the flu later on in the season.
And, a lot of people, especially young adults, they think about, well, geez, I'm healthy. I feel good. I'm healthy. They don't think about it, but they should get it. They should get the shots just like an older person.
Yeah, they really should. Like I said earlier, you're not only protecting yourself, you're also protecting the people around you. Nobody likes to get the flu. If you've ever had it before, you know just how terrible it is. The flu shot's your best first line of defense against your ability to fight it off. So even if you're young, if you're around somebody who has the virus, they're exposing you. So you have just as much of a chance of getting sick as somebody else.
And sometimes, for many people, the cost is covered, right?
Yes. At Kroger Pharmacy, we can bill insurance plans. That's pretty much everyone out there. So we can always check for you to make sure it's covered. But even if it isn't covered or if you don't have insurance, Kroger does have very competitive pricing for our flu shots.
And do you have to have an appointment to get a flu shot at Kroger?
No, you can walk in anytime that the pharmacy is open. We give flu shots all day long, no appointment needed. And we'll give them up until about 20 minutes before we close. One thing to keep in mind is that we offer so much more than, flu shots. So when you come in, if you're unsure if you need any other vaccine, maybe it's your meningitis vaccine or you can't remember the last time you had a tetanus vaccine, maybe you're due for a pneumonia vaccine and you didn't even know. If you want to just take a moment to talk with our pharmacist, we can do an assessment for you to find out if there's anything else that would be recommended for you that day. And we can usually, in most cases, do them at the same time.
And I'm glad you mentioned the pneumonia vaccine. Talk a bit about it's crucial for certain people to get that.
Yes. So traditionally, it's recommended for folks over the age of 65, but we also do recommend it for people younger than that. Any adult that has any sort of compromised immune system, so that could include your people with hepatitis or HIV. We would also recommend it for people with respiratory diseases, so like COPD or asthma. We also recommend it for folks that have diabetes too. So there's so many more people that having those other conditions makes you more at risk for developing the pneumonia, especially if you get the flu first, because you can get the pneumonia as a secondary disease state.
And the pharmacy is a great place to ask questions.
Yeah, certainly we're always open to answering your questions. We love to get to know you and get to hear what your concerns are. And we like to, make sure that you're comfortable with the vaccine that you're getting or the medication that you're getting. So please ask us questions if you want to know. We're happy to answer them.
Thanks again for listening to this week's Today's Health and Wellness podcast, brought to you by Central Ohio Health and Wellness magazine and Today's Health. If you have a health and wellness segment you would like us to cover, send us an email. Our contact information is in the show notes.
And if you'd like more information about sponsoring our podcast, like Ashley just mentioned, our contact information is in the podcast notes. We look forward to hearing from you.